We've all felt it, haven't we? That kind of uncanny sense that a brand isn't just, selling something, it's talking right to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a perfectly timed ad, maybe, or a recommendation from someone you really trust, or even just a news story that kind of shapes how you see things. Businesses are always, always finding new ways to cut through all that noise and, well, influence us.
It's true. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into today, this promotion piece of the marketing mix. And it's really not just about throwing messages out there randomly.
Right.
It's quite sophisticated, really, an art and a science of how companies strategically talk to you, the customer, trying to get specific results.
Exactly. And I think when we hear promotion, most people probably jump straight to advertising, right? Billboards, TV ads.
Yeah, that's the common thought.
But that's where it gets interesting because advertising is actually just one, maybe powerful, but still just one piece of this much bigger, surprisingly complex puzzle.
That's spot on. So our mission here in this deep dive is really to shine a light on all those sometimes subtle ways businesses try to inform you, persuade you, maybe just remind you about what they offer.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at the different parts that make up this whole promotion mix. Try and help you make a bit more sense of that constant flood of messages we're all swimming in every day.
Okay, so let's unpack that. When a business puts together a promotional campaign, they're not just like crossing their fingers and hoping it works.
No, definitely not.
There are clear goals, strategic objectives behind it all. I mean, sure, getting new customers by raising awareness is big, but they're also trying to do things like build brand loyalty, right? Or reinforce a product's image.
Exactly. And maybe even encouraging existing customers to buy more or try something new.
Yeah.
They're also heavily focused sometimes on just giving you enough information so you feel you can make a good decision. Or maybe nudging you towards that new thing they just launched.
So it's about influencing behavior, really.
Ultimately, yes. Whether that's through direct info or maybe more persuasive stuff. And like you said, advertising. Just one tool in a pretty packed toolkit.
And it's amazing the range of methods they actually use in these campaigns. Our sources point out that besides advertising, we're talking about things like personal selling, the whole world of opinion leaders, and then publicity and public relations, too.
That's right, a whole mix.
Maybe let's start with personal selling because, in this super digital world, does it still matter? Is it still relevant?
Oh, it's fascinating, actually, how personal selling kind of defies that digital first thing we see everywhere, especially for, let's say, high-stakes decisions.
Okay. Like what?
Well, think business-to-business software deals, complex financial advice, maybe even luxury goods, big investments. That direct human interaction, it offers a level of trust, of customization that, frankly, an algorithm just can't replicate yet.
Right. The personal touch.
Yeah. It becomes less about a generic pitch and more about being a trusted advisor. And honestly, the success of a whole marketing plan can really hang on how good that sales force is.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Without a competent sales team, sales, revenue, it can all drop off pretty fast. It really underlines how crucial that human element still is in, well, quite a few industries.
That makes total sense. Because with personal selling, the salesperson can kind of adjust the message right there on the fly to fit your specific situation.
Exactly. Tailored.
You can ask your own questions, get explanations that make sense to you, really get to grips with something technical maybe. It's that immediate feedback, that back and forth.
Hmm.
But okay, if that one-on-one thing is so powerful, what happens when a business needs to scale that influence? How do you get that personal feeling across to thousands, maybe millions of people?
Well, that leads us nicely into another really powerful and, let's face it, increasingly common form of promotion. Opinion leaders.
Okay, influencers and the like.
Exactly. And the real power here, it isn't just about how many followers they have, though that helps. It's more about those parasocial relationships they build.
Parasocial.
Yeah, where followers feel like they have a personal connection, almost like a friendship, with the leader. So when that person recommends something, it feels less like an ad and more like advice from a buddy.
Ah, I see. That perceived authenticity.
That's marketing gold right there. And it's why brands pour so much money into using them as, information channels for everything from endorsing stuff that's already out there to introducing brand new products.
And historically, we saw this with like big name actors, athletes, musicians, right? I'm thinking Roger Federer and Rolex or Uniqlo, maybe. Huge stars, huge followings.
Definitely. Those celebrity endorsements open doors to massive audiences.
Yeah.
But you're right, that model has changed quite a bit.
How so?
Well, while those traditional brand ambassadors, they often still have huge social media reach, and yeah, a referral from them can be incredibly potent, get a company instant followers, loads of engagement. But there's also a pretty big risk involved. If a company ties its brand, its whole image to one person, well, if that person's reputation takes a hit for some reason,
Ooh, yeah.
it directly impacts the business's reputation too. It's a gamble, a calculated one, but still a gamble. And talking about social media, lots of businesses have kind of shifted focus beyond just the household names to what we now call social influencers.
Right. These are people on social media who've really built up credibility in a specific area, a niche, and they can genuinely influence their audience.
Hugely impactful.
Yeah, I mean, our source material mentions that almost half, 49% of consumers actually look for advice on purchases from social media influencers. And nearly 40% of Twitter users said they bought something because an influencer recommended it. That's a massive shift.
It really is. And often, it's actually more cost-effective for the brand than bagging a huge celebrity. A lot of brands now just send out free products or maybe pay influencers per post. They essentially turn them into brand advocates.
Like that Kmart example.
Exactly. Kmart did this brilliantly. They recruited this sort of army of women on Instagram to promote their homewares, their clothing.
Right, I remember hearing about that.
They basically became unpaid consultants, getting invites to exclusive events, getting free stuff, and it massively boosted demand, got Kmart tons of publicity for its products, and cleverly sidestepped any, lingering stigma about being just a discount store.
That's a really smart way to shift how people see you. Okay, let's pivot a bit. Something that often gets mixed up with advertising, publicity and public relations. What's the actual difference there?
Okay, think of it like this. Let's say your company launches a new eco-friendly product, and a popular blog just discovers it, loves it, writes a glowing review, all without you doing anything directly. That's publicity.
So it's basically free press.
Pretty much. Any free news story about a business or its products, the key things are, it's free. And the business doesn't control when it happens or even if it happens. The main goal is still positive, though enhance the image, raise awareness, highlight good stuff, maybe counter some negativity.
Okay, so it's kind of organic media mentions. Then what about public relations, PR? How's that different?
Right, so PR is more active.
Mm.
If your PR team organizes a press conference for that eco-product launch, invites journalists to try it out, puts out a carefully worded press release about your green initiatives, all aiming to get positive media coverage, that's public relations.
Okay, so PR is the strategic effort.
Exactly. PR is all the activities aimed at building and keeping a good relationship between the business and its various publics, customers, media, investors, the community. PR folks design and manage those publicity events. They try to expose the business or an idea to an audience, often using unpaid third parties like working with the media, giving speeches, maybe even doing things like making donations or running giveaways that then get reported by news outlets.
Which is why PR can sometimes feel more credible, maybe even be cheaper than straight advertising, because it seems like it's coming from an independent source.
Precisely. That third-party validation carries weight.
But then that leads to the big question everyone always asks. Is all publicity good publicity?
Yeah. This is where it gets, well, interesting and sometimes pretty risky. Because while publicity aims for a good image, businesses fundamentally cannot control what people or the media actually say about them.
Right.
And now, with social media, that risk is just amplified massively. You've got this instant army of critics and commentators, as the source puts it.
Yeah, things can spread like wildfire.
Totally. There's a great example in the source. MASC Cosmetics did this, a free lipstick giveaway on Instagram. Sounds good, right?
Okay, seems harmless enough.
Except they massively underestimated demand. Stock ran out in minutes, leaving thousands of fans really annoyed and empty-handed.
Oh, no.
And what happened? Hundreds of them jumped straight onto social media, venting, complaining, boom. Significant negative publicity, pretty much overnight.
Ouch. Yeah, that MMACE example really shows how fast a good idea can backfire online. But then you contrast that with something like, remember Elon Musk launching the Tesla Roadster into space on a SpaceX rocket?
Oh yeah, spectacular stunt.
That generated absolutely massive worldwide publicity for both Tesla and SpaceX, and it was pretty much all positive, awe-inspired stuff.
Totally different outcome.
It really shows, yeah, not all publicity is created equal at all.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally, let's talk about advertising itself. Because let's be honest, with the sheer volume of products and messages fighting for our attention, advertising is still, well, Absolutely essential for most businesses to even get noticed.
Just cutting through the clutter.
Exactly. Back in 2021, just as an example, businesses in Australia spent something like $15.6 billion just on advertising.
Wow. Billion.
Billion. And digital marketing was the lion's share of that, about 58%.
That is a staggering amount of money. What are they getting for that kind of spend? What's the big advantage?
Well, the main advantage of advertising is probably its flexibility. You can use it to blast a message out to a huge, broad audience, think national TV, radio,
Mm-hmm.
or you can get super specific, really zero in on a tiny, very distinct target market using all the digital tools we have now, highly segmented online ads.
So mass reach or pinpoint accuracy.
Right. And it comes in so many forms, from those big TV campaigns down to internet banners or even just cheap flyers. Businesses can run these massive campaigns using lots of different media types all at once for really intense coverage.
And that huge growth in social media advertising, you mentioned, what was it, like 35% increase in 2021?
Yeah, 35.8% according to the IAB data.
Yeah.
It really shows how quickly businesses jumped on the fact that everyone was online so much more during the pandemic.
Yeah, it makes sense. And that shift, in turn, has really hit traditional advertising platforms hard, hasn't it? Like newspapers, free-to-air TV.
Oh, definitely. It's had a pretty devastating effect in many cases. It's just a constantly changing battlefield for attention out there. It's truly dynamic.
So if we try and tie all this back together, all these different approaches, the personal selling, the opinion leaders, publicity, PR, advertising, they aren't just random shots in the dark.
Not at all. They're carefully picked, deliberately woven together as components of a strategic promotion mix,
Right.
all designed to hit specific business goals and, ultimately, to influence your choices, often in ways you might not even consciously notice.
It really is fascinating when you break it down, seeing how businesses blend all these things. So for you listening, we hope this deep dive maybe makes you think a little bit about how you take in information, how you make buying decisions.
Yeah.
Which of these methods actually gets through to you personally? Are you more swayed by that helpful salesperson or maybe a recommendation from someone you follow online? Does a news story that seems neutral have more impact, or is it that really clever, well-crafted ad?
And just understanding these strategies, even a little bit, can make you a savvier consumer, right? Help you filter that constant noise.
Definitely.
Or, hey, maybe it even sparks some ideas for how you might influence people or build a brand yourself, whether that's for a product, a cause you care about, or even just getting your own ideas heard.
So, looking ahead, in this world that's just packed with promotional messages and with the digital world changing so fast, what do you think comes next? What new kinds of promotion might pop up, and how could they challenge or, I don't know, maybe even work alongside the methods we've talked about today? Something to think about.